We're going to get into some minicamp winners and losers, but before we do, the Vikings host here at Chat Sports, Patrick Seatman, as he glances into the studio right now, called Atlanta a poverty franchise. Let me tell you what a poverty franchise looks like, Patrick. Going 0-4 in the Super Bowl, having the most playoff appearances in the NFL without winning a Super Bowl, and checking it down on 4th down in the playoffs. That is a poverty franchise. If that did not make you subscribe, I don't know what will. Welcome into Falcons Today by Chat Sports. Matthew Peterson here with some minicamp winners and losers. Now, they're just minicamp plays, right? I mean, no one can be that big of a winner or a loser coming out of a non-padded practice, but it's a fun way to kind of condense everything we learned over the last few days in Flowery Branch. So my first winner is tight end Jonnu Smith. Yeah, a move that got made very early this offseason that even myself have somewhat forgotten about, but he has flashed in multiple roles so far this week. And remember, Jonnu Smith was awesome for the Titans when a certain someone was his offensive coordinator in Nashville. Now, team reporter Tori McElhaney said this on Jonnu Smith. Jonnu Smith is quick for such a big dude. The 6'3", 248-pound tight end is often moved off the line and to the outside, where you can see his speed and crisp route running on display. That was clear during Wednesday's minicamp in individual drills and team sessions. He has proved a tough cover during the offseason, frequently pulling down tough catches on passes thrown his way. Now, Jonnu Smith inked a big contract with New England and never lived up to it. In 30 games, he only hauled in 539 yards and 1 touchdown, playing second fiddle to Hunter Henry. But when he was with Arthur Smith in Tennessee, he was awesome. In 60 games, 17 touchdowns and 1,300 yards. Sure, those aren't Travis Kelce numbers, but you're not paying him to be that type of tight end. So in my book, the Falcons have 2 really good tight ends, and Jonnu Smith might afford Kyle Pitts to take an extra week. If he's not 110% when week 1 rolls around against Carolina, you can feel comfortable with what you have in Smith to make sure Pitts does not rush back from an injury and sustain more damage to his leg. So with that being said, rate the Falcons offense. How are we feeling about this crew altogether? Scale it 1 to 10. There's a lot of talent. They might not have a ton of depth at some spots, but the top end talent is there. Bijan Robinson is going to be a top 5 running back in the NFL this year. Drake London was nearly a 1,000-yard receiver with inconsistent quarterback play. You get Kyle Pitts back this season. I like what they're doing on the offensive line. This offense is going to surprise people. Moving on to my first loser. It's not really a loser, but it's Jaylinn Hawkins, the safety, because he is looking like the odd man out, right? Jessie Bates has been phenomenal so far. That should be no surprise. That was Atlanta's prize free agent acquisition. But Jaylinn Hawkins is now on the outside looking in when it comes to the safety room. So the defensive coordinator, Ryan Nielsen, was raving about Jessie Bates. He said there have been a lot of moments, something every day, where he shows how good of a player he is. He's good at recognizing plays. He's always in the right body position. He's just a smart player who is really confident, which he should be. With that combination, you can see why he has had success over his career. Bates was awesome with the Bengals for a long, long time. 5 interceptions combined over the last 2 seasons. Maybe my favorite stat that you see on screen right there is the games played. What's the best ability? Availability. And Jessie Bates has always been on the field for Cincinnati. And now when you look at Atlanta's safety room, between Richie Grant and Jaylinn Hawkins, your 2 starting safeties last year, Richie Grant was no doubt the better of the 2, so Jessie Bates slides in next to him, and I wouldn't be shocked if Hawkins is someone that is on the outside looking in when the 53-man roster cutdown day gets here. My third player when it comes to winners and losers, it is hashtag Be Nice to Desmond Ridder. And Desmond Ridder is a winner coming out of minicamp. So we got some good looks at Desmond Ridder. Arthur Smith gave some good praise on his second-year quarterback. And Tori McElhaney wrote about it saying this: Smith paid the young quarterback a compliment, pointing out Ridder's instincts and anticipation of knowing where his playmakers are. The head coach said this is something Ridder did well in Cincinnati, but it's different now that Ridder is in a meeting room with Smith with his mental capacity on full display. Smith went on to say the Falcons have thrown a lot at Ridder this offseason, but even in that, the head coach said there's been obvious mental improvement on top of the instincts Ridder already has. Ridder had a good spring, Smith said, and they were pleased with his progress as QB1. Last season, Desmond Ridder definitely showed improvement and progress throughout his 4 starts, kind of ending it on a much higher note than he started, and it wasn't even that low of a floor in that first game against New Orleans. So, with that being stated, do you have faith in Desmond Ridder? There are some hardcore Desmond Ridder fans and stands in this channel right now. Give me your thoughts in the comment section, yes or no. Now, we're going to get to the rest of this and our other winners and losers in just a brief moment, but we've got a great deal still going on with our friends over at Fanatics. You don't just get 1 shirt, you get 2 shirts, 40% off. There is really no deal like it. So go to chatsports.com/ATL shirt combo. That link's in the comments and the description of today's video. Now, you probably saw this one coming. If Desmond Ridder is a winner, then Taylor Heinecke is a loser. Now, he's not a big loser, but I'm sure he'd rather be closer to being this team's QB1. Heinecke threw an interception on Wednesday, and when you're the backup quarterback trying to impress and trying to overtake the starter, you got to be perfect, essentially, right? So it's just June. It's a practice. I'm not actually going to make a big deal out of 1 interception. I remember last year, and this is going to be tough for some people to hear, Matt Ryan did not throw an interception all off season long, and we kind of know how the 2022 Matt Ryan campaign went. But there is no real loser in June, but you just combine 1 bad moment plus Ridder. It makes it kind of easy to sum it up and break down what we've seen out of Heinecke so far. But in all seriousness, I have said that Taylor Heinecke is going to be our generation's Ryan Fitzpatrick, where you might not want him to be your starting quarterback week 1, but you better believe if he takes over in week 5, he's never giving that job back. And this team is going to win some games, they're going to lose some games, but they're going to have some great Taylor Heinecke moments. So he is one of the better backup quarterbacks in the NFL. It's a great luxury to have behind Desmond Ridder. Whether an injury pops up or just poor QB play pops up, you can feel really confident turning to a guy like Taylor Heinecke. Third and final winner coming out of minicamp is Tyler Algier, which I don't think I would have predicted this back in April when they drafted Bijan Robinson, but Atlanta is starting to carve out a role for Bijan in this offense, and it's a role that allows Tyler Algier to still be involved in this offense, right? Bijan and Cordero Patterson are being used as pass catchers, a wide receiver for CP84, slot work for Bijan Robinson. That's not going to be his only job, but there will definitely be packages and plays where Bijan is in the slot and Tyler Algier is in the backfield, so he is still going to get work. He probably won't get 210 carries again and motor himself to over 1,000 yards, but Tyler Algier is not being phased out of this running back room or of this offense just because they drafted Bijan Robinson. Instead, Arthur Smith is trying to get all the best talent possible on the field at the same time. So if that means moving some guys around a little bit and flexing Bijan to the slot to get Algier in the backfield, they're going to do that. The Falcons have 3 good running backs, so why not use all 3 at the same time rather than forcing Scotty Miller or more of Matt Collins when we can all admit the running back room is a lot more complete and deep than the wide receiver room. So lean into your strengths. If your strengths are running backs and you want to run the football, and believe me, Arthur Smith with Chris Lindstrom and Caleb McGarry, they want to run the football. Get all those guys on the field at the same time. You don't need to go full Georgia Tech triple option mode on me, but you can still get creative and come up with some fun plays like Kyle Shanahan does over in the Bay Area. That's going to do it for us on today's show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We're going to sign off and see everyone later.